Yeah, good afternoon and welcome to the last lecture on module 4. That is, today we'll be discussing about radiation resistance of half-wave dipole antenna. So what we'll do is, from whatever we have learned so far, so we'll just quickly recollect why, because it's a continuation, right? So we started by analyzing short electric dipole. We found its general field expression E and H, right? Then we found out the far field expression by assuming R is very large and making 1 by R square and 1 by R cube terms 0. And we found the far field expression. So that was the first part we have done. And then what we did is we found the radiation resistance of a electric dipole, not short wave dipole, short electric dipole. Right. So radiation resistance. To find radiation resistance, what was the procedure? Initially, we represented an antenna as its equivalent electrical circuit, right, with RR being the radiation resistance. So the total power dissipated by, or total power radiated by the antenna can be assumed to be the power dissipated across this RR, right, provided the RMS current flowing, it is actually what IRMS is I naught by root 2, where I naught is the maximum value, you know that. And then we equated it with actually the total power calculated using the power theorem by integrating the radial component of power density vector, average power density vector we got. So we equated. So that is how we found radiation resistance. Even to find radiation resistance of half wave dipole, we'll be using the same method, right? Same method, right? You find using the equivalent circuit, that will be same, I naught square by 2 RR. And using power theorem, we have to find. So using power theorem, if you have to find the total power radiated, you should know what is the electric and magnetic field, or at least you should know one of them, right, in far field, so that we know electric and magnetic field intensities are related by means of actually what intrinsic impedance of free space, Z0 or Z or eta. The intrinsic impedance of free space 120 pi. So E theta will be 120 pi H pi. So I just wanted you people to recollect. Right. Then maybe so we have to find radiation resistance. So before that, what I should do is I want you to be comfortable with the field expression of this thin linear antenna. Right. So we know the field expression of short electric dipole. Right. So for that, right, I'll just give me a moment. Right. The prerequisite, or what we should have readily in our hand is, right, maybe initially I'll just start by drawing the system model. Right, this is our thin linear antenna, right, its length is L, so it will be spanning from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2 on Z axis with center at origin, right. And be it any thin linear antenna, right, its current distribution we have seen, it will be sinusoidal. So that is the first thing you should know. The current distribution on thin linear antenna. That is what we have discussed in last class. It is I naught, where I naught is the peak value. I naught times sine of, I can write 2 pi by lambda. 2 pi by lambda at times I'll write as beta. Right. It's not any, right. 2 pi by lambda times L by 2 plus or minus Z times e power j omega t minus r by c. Right. So this is the current, right? This is the current, retarded current. So where this sine 2 pi by lambda times L by 2 plus or minus Z, that is actually called the form factor of current. And we even visualize that for different lengths of antenna. We use GeoGebra to visualize, right? So always the current distribution at the ends, open circuited ends, we will have 0. And as you move towards the center, actually what it will sinusoidally vary. And one more thing which you have to keep in mind is every lambda by 2 adjacent lambda by 2 segments, the current direction will be changing. Its current direction will be opposite to each other, right? So it's, say now I'm considering some general antenna. It need not be actually what half wave. I'm considering some general antenna of length L. L can be anything, right? So the current distribution will be something like this. It will go to maximum and again come to 0. Go to maximum and again come to 0. This is the current distribution. Where I naught, right? So you should be very clear. This I naught, it is the maximum value of current, right? Now what we will do is we'll consider to find the field due to this thin linear antenna, to find field due to this thin linear. This is actually the prerequisite, right? Prerequisite what I'm discussing now, right? So to find field due to thin linear antenna, what we should do is I should consider a segment of length dz, which is at a distance of z from origin, and I'm assuming the far field, sorry, control Z, right? The far field at some point, which is at a distance s from this dz, right? This is the point P r theta phi. This is the point P r theta phi. So, one second, yeah, this is the point P r theta phi. So this r is nothing but what? Distance of the point from origin. So as this distance is very large, I'm assuming this s r all are parallel, right? So we have done it before, right? We have done it before, and this angle is actually what? Theta. This angle is theta, and phi will be the azimuth angle. It will be the angle the projection of this radial vector makes on x-axis, makes with positive x-axis. You know that. So makes on xy plane, makes with positive x. You know that, right? So these are the things. So what I'll assume is, in this, one of the assumption is I'm assuming this s will be equal to r. So from top the distance, we can call it actually what? S1. From bottom, if it is S2, so this S or S1, S2, everything will be same. So my assumption is S will be equal to R. Otherwise, I would have written actually what? It in terms of S. So this small length dz, right? I can consider it as a short electric dipole with capacitive loading, right? So even though current distribution is sinusoidal, if you consider an infinitesimally small length, you can assume the current over that is constant, right? So this is why we have been dealing with, even though the short electric dipole is a hypothetical case, right? I've been telling it's n-loaded case, right? Because it's constant. So this is how we'll deal with practical thin linear antenna. We can break it down into many small short electric dipoles, like n-loaded short electric dipoles, over which the current will be constant. So the total so the field due to this differential element, right? This differential short electric dipole. This is a short electric dipole, right? This short electric dipole. L is actually what? Dz is much less compared to lambda. You know that what is a short electric dipole, right? So now field due to the short electric dipole at this point pH, I'm going to write it as actually what? Dh, right? What I'll do is I'll be deriving only magnetic field. We are interested in far field pattern only, right? So we are interested in far field pattern only. So I'll be deriving only magnetic field. And if I know magnetic field, I can find out the electric field E theta by multiplying it with 120 pi, or intrinsic impedance of free space. So I'll be deriving only magnetic field. So what will be this DH? Can anyone tell me? What will be? We told it in last class, right? But again, I think I should repeat it. Then only you will be able to appreciate this derivation. So, and this DH, what would be that? Can anyone tell me what is that DH? Right, this DH, maybe I should call DH5. Why? Because the magnetic field in far field, it is exclusively along phi direction, right? So it will form a loop around the antenna, right? Conductor, and it will propagate. So it will be a big loop. It will be along phi direction, right? So I can write it as j omega I within square bracket, j omega I within square bracket sine theta. Instead of L, I should write dz. Instead of L, I should write dz divided by 4 pi CR. Or else it can also be written, it can be simplified. There are many actually constants. Omega is 2 pi f and C is f lambda. So we can substitute all those steps, right? Where this I is nothing but what? I will be this, right? I have already written. So I can write as J I times sine theta dz divided by 2r lambda, right? So I'll call this equation number 1. This is equation number 2, right? So this is dh phi. So now I need to find the total field, total magnetic field due to this short, this thin linear antenna. For that, what I should do is I should integrate this differential magnetic field over the length L by 2 to plus L by 2. Why? Because I'm considering it to be composed of many short fragments of short electric dipole. So I should consider the contribution of each and everything. So it's actually what continuous summation. It will become actually what integration, right? So this H phi, the total electric field, right? Total electric field, right? This is due to a thin linear antenna, right? Thin linear antenna. What do you mean by thin? Thickness should be much less than lambda by 100. What do you mean by linear? It should be a straight line. We are not considering any other shape. If you keep it inside in the form of a circular loop, that will become a loop antenna. It is not a thin linear antenna, right? If you keep it in the case of actually what a rectangular loop, that again is a loop antenna. So that's why that's linear. It's kept along a straight line, right? And one more thing is actually what it is center fed antenna. We are giving the excitation exactly at the midpoint, right? So thin linear center fed antenna. So the total H phi will be integral Z from minus L by 2 to L by 2, right? I can write J times I sine theta dz divided by 2r lambda, where this I should be this, right? I should come from equation number 1. So if you substitute, and one more assumption what I'm making is in e power j omega t minus r by c, right? S by c, S and r all are same, I'm assuming. So if you do that, we will get, we even derived it in last class, but I'm just repeating it. Why? Because it will give you a continuity. Otherwise, you may think from where this came, right? So this H phi will become, right, now this H phi will be, right, you can write it is J I naught, right? So I naught within square bracket, right? If I'm writing I naught within square bracket, it means I naught e power j omega t minus r by c. Just to save space, I'm doing it. Even in the textbook, they have done the same. So wherever this I naught is written, please don't confuse it with I. If it is I, that form factor also will come. It is actually what I naught is, nothing but what retarded I without form factor, right? Maximum current. So I have shown here. That's why in this diagram I have shown what is I naught. All of you should be right. So the current, it's actually what at the ends it will be 0. It will be increasing to maximum. So this maximum current is I naught, right? So the RMS current will be I naught by root 2, right? RMS current will be I naught by root 2. Okay, so J I naught. Can anyone tell me what is this expression? J I naught, please, by 2 pi r, J I naught by 2 pi r. So whatever content I am writing within the square bracket, that decides the shape. This is what we have simulated in last class, right? It will be, you can just cos of beta L cos theta by 2, cos of beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos beta L by 2 divided by sine theta, right? Divided by sine theta. You don't have to integrate this as such, right? You don't have to integrate this, right? So this is the a shape, right? So within the square bracket, this is the shape. It's of the form cos of beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos beta L by 2 by sine theta. So if you substitute for L, if it is a lambda by 2 antenna, what you should do? You should substitute L is equal to lambda by 2, and beta is nothing but what? Beta is 2 pi by lambda, and L you can substitute in terms of lambda. If it is lambda by 2, it will give you the magnetic field intensity expression for lambda by 2 antenna. That's it. Right. So this is H phi, and E theta can be obtained as, right? E theta can be obtained as Z times H phi, right? That is equal to 120 pi times H phi, and that will be, so you just simply multiply it with 120 pi. That's it, right? So it is J times 60 I naught divided by R, and again the shape pattern will remain the same. It will be actually what? Cos beta L cos theta by 2, cos beta L cos theta by 2 times cos of beta L by 2 divided by sine theta. So this is E theta and H phi. This is actually what far field pattern of far field, right? Far field pattern of center fed, right? Center fed thin linear antenna. So this is far field pattern of a center fed antenna, and that antenna should be thin and linear, right? So this is H phi and E theta. Maybe yeah. So you should be right comfortable with this also, right? So any doubt in this so far how it is done, right? If you are asked only to derive actually what the field pattern, general field pattern, you can actually what derive only this much. If the question is specifically about a lambda by 2 antenna or 3 lambda by 4 antenna, what you should do, substitute L is equal to whatever value in this, in the final expression, right? Please don't go ahead and substitute that integration, right? You do from minus L by 2 to L by 2, right? So so this in final result you make the substitution, otherwise you are going to right get confused, right? So this final result you make the substitution, whatever be the required L, you substitute that, that's it, right? So now any queries, any questions in this? Are you okay, or are you able to right appreciate how we reached this, how we got this expression? Now for the radiation resistance of half wave dipole, this is the input, these right, from here we'll start, right? So you have to be comfortable with this, that's why I'm asking. Yeah, okay, great. And one more thing, right? In last class, while I was discussing about, while doing the GeoGebra simulation, I was considering a lambda by 4 antenna. So in video, I was telling, I think it spans from, sorry, lambda by 8 antenna, and I told it spans from minus lambda by 8 to plus lambda by 8. I hope you understood. It was a slip of my tongue. It should have been actually what, lambda by 16 to minus lambda by 16, right? It was a mistake from my side. Like I just asked you to calculate what would be the maximum current, right, or current at the center, right? So I just remembered that, that's why I mentioned, right? What happened, Saurabh? You have typed something 7 okay, thank you, right? I was thinking, what is that? Yeah, so shall we go ahead and derive the radiation resistance of half wave dipole? So this much what I have discussed is actually a prerequisite. Now we should go ahead and derive the expression for radiation resistance of half wave dipole. So for that, you should remember this, right? So this, I'm going to ask what is H phi. At that time, you should be able to tell me what is H phi. Right. This one at least you should remember. Right. This one at least you should. Right. Now you have to tell me what is that H phi. Right. So now we'll derive radiation resistance of half wave dipole. So there was not even a single university question paper without those questions. Either they'll ask, show that radiation resistance of a short electric dipole is 80 pi square L by lambda the whole square, or show that radiation resistance of a half wave dipole is 73 ohm. Right. So it's a standard value, right? It is 73 ohm. In fact, for practical lambda by 2 antenna radiation resistance, it's not actually what it's not real alone. It's not pure real. It has actually what some inductive element also. So now what we are going to do is the theoretical one, right? As per that, we are assuming the radiation resistance does not have any reactive components, right? So, but in fact, a half wave dipole radiation resistance will have some inductive element. So instead of actually what 73 ohm, if you consider a thin linear antenna, which is half the wavelength, half the which is whose length is half the operating wavelength, its radiation resistance will be 73 plus J 42.5 ohm. So maybe you might have seen the 73 plus J 42.5. Why? Because in transmission line, when we were solving problem, one of the problems, the load impedance was given to be 73 plus j 42.5. That is the standard value. So that is, if you construct a half wave dipole antenna, right, which is exactly lambda by 2 length, then its radiation resistance is a complex number. It will be 73 plus j 42.5. So practically what we will do is, in order to remove that reactive part, right, in order to eliminate that inductive effect, we will reduce the length of the antenna by a small percentage, right, a small percentage, so that the reactive part is gone, right, the reactive part is gone. And so because of that, actually reactive part will be gone. So but what happens is, because of that reduction in length, the radiation resistance of the antenna itself will reduce. Instead of 73 ohm, it will actually reduce to 65 ohm. So these are some practical. So if you are working in this microwave or radio engineering domain, so this 73, 73.j, 42.5, 65, right, 50, all those are actually standard frequently appeared terms. That's why I told that. So in a practical, half wave antenna will be shorter than half wave, and its radiation resistance will be somewhere around 65 ohm if it is center fed, right? Okay, so I just wanted to tell that. So radiation resistance of half wave dipole. So what we'll do is, right, initially we'll consider the equivalent electrical circuit, right? I'm considering the equivalent electrical circuit. Here I am assuming the radiation resistance is purely resistive, right? This is RR, and I'm not considering if there is some internal resistance for this the source, or there is some leakage in antenna. All those things I'm not considering, right? So this is excited with I naught e power j omega t. So I want you to be clear, this I naught is a peak value I've shown, right? Even when I drawn the current distribution, I've shown the peak value, right? So I naught is the peak value. So the RMS current will be, I RMS will be, as we have seen in last class, right, I naught by root 2. So if an RMS current of I RMS is flowing through this RR, right, so there will be power dissipation, right? That power dissipated is actually what our total power radiated. So P total, it is equal to I naught square by 2 times RR. So this will be our equation number 1 as usual, right? This will be our equation number 1 as usual, right? But now what we have to do is we need to, right? So this RR is what we have to find out. RR is what we have to find out. I naught we know. I naught we know already. If somehow we can measure the total power, I can actually find out RR. Only one unknown, one equation. That is what we are going to do. Right. So to find total power, we can make use of the power theorem. And we are keeping our antenna at origin of our coordinate system, and we are measuring actually the power density. Average power density at some distance r. Average power density at some distance r. This average power density right, actual power density vector S is actually what it is, E cross H, vector E cross H, right? But right, we need actually average. You have to. It may not be same everywhere. So what we'll do is we'll average power density vector. It's actually a function of time, right? This S, it's a function of time. So value of S at which time instance you will consider, that is the question. That's why we are actually considering average power density, time average power density, right? So average power density SR, right? SR or S average, whatever it is, actually half times real part of E theta times H phi conjugate, right? So it will be half times real part of E theta times H phi conjugate, right? So with this, we know what is this H phi, right? We know what is this H phi, and we also know this E theta. E theta is actually 120 pi times H phi. E theta is 120 pi times H phi. So I can rewrite this SR to be equal to, SR is half real part of 120 pi, it's a real quantity, H phi times H phi conjugate, right? So this 120 pi is a constant, it can be taken out. So what happens is SR will become, right, the average power density vector in watts per square meter. It becomes SR is equal to 120 pi. If it comes out, it will be actually 60 pi times real part of H phi into H phi conjugate. So I told a complex number times its conjugate, right? It will give you square of its magnitude, right? We know that already. So we have done, so mod of h phi the whole square. So this is our SR, right? This is our SR. So I write it equation number 3. This is our SR. 60 pi times mod of h phi the whole square, right? So now to find total power, I'm using total power using power theorem, right? By power theorem, P total power radiated can be assumed to be equal to integral theta from 0 to pi, phi from 0 to 2 pi, SR times R square sin theta d theta d phi, right? SR times R square sin theta d theta d phi. So where this SR is nothing but what? 60 pi times h phi. What is mod of h phi, by the way? Now, anyone tell me what is mod of h phi, please? What is mod of h phi? If it is mod of h phi, right? When it is magnitude, I don't have to consider this e power j argument. This e power j term I don't have to consider. Why? Because that will be actually what? Phase part. I am interested in only magnitude. So e power j, whatever is that I can omit. And so whatever was there in mode of I naught, it will be actually what I have to consider only I naught. And if there is any multiplication with j, that also I don't have to consider, right? So then what this h phi, right? H phi will be I naught, right? H phi will be I naught divided by 2 pi r, I naught divided by 2 pi r times cos of beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos beta L by 2 divided by sin theta. This is h phi. So what will be mod of h phi square? Square of this I naught square. Sorry, 2 pi r the whole square, cos of this square and sin square theta. So this is mod of h phi square. So we have to simply substitute that here. That's it. P total is equal to integral theta from 0 to pi, phi from 0 to 2 pi. H phi will be, SR will become 60 pi times mod of h phi square, right? Mod of h phi square is nothing but what? I naught square by 4 pi square r square times cos of beta L cos theta by, okay, maybe I should write it like this, or else you may end up reading it as cos of theta by 2, right? Minus cos of beta L by 2 divided by sin theta, or maybe I'll write it as this square times sin square theta times r square sin theta d theta d phi. So what will happen is r square and r square will get cancelled. So maybe we can just cancel out all those steps. Like this r square and this r square will get cancelled. Maybe I should use some other ring. Right? I can use a highlighter, I guess. Right. So this r square and r square gets cancelled, and one sin theta and this one sin theta will get cancelled. Right. So then what we have is 60 pi divided by 4 pi square I naught square. So maybe we can rewrite it in your textbook. Actually, what they have written only this final expression, right? Only this final expression. They have not mentioned what, right, how it came. Actually, but it's okay. So this P total will become. Let me just right. P total will become. I think I should just scroll down a bit. P total will become. Right. The constant P total will be 15. Just correct me if I'm wrong. 15 I naught square divided by, say, what will be pi square pi. So it will be pi 15 I square divided by pi times integral theta from 0 to pi and phi from 0 to 2 pi. Right. So what happens is one sin theta and sin square theta, that will get cancelled. So on numerator we don't have any change. That is cos of beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos of beta L by 2, this the whole square divided by sine theta, then d theta d phi, right? So, and fortunately we don't have any phi term, right? We don't have any phi term because of the symmetry involved, right? I've discussed, right? If it is a long conductor, if you move around that at same distance on a circle, if the conductor is placed along the center of the circle, it will be symmetric, it will look the same. So the magnetic field or electric field, right, at some distance r away from the conductor, if you are moving around a circle, it will be the same, it will be symmetric. That's why the field expression is independent of phi. So it's right. So it's what we have to do is we can straight away integrate. So the only term containing phi is actually what, this d phi. So if you integrate d phi, what you will get is 2 pi. Phi from 0 to pi, d phi is actually what, 2 pi, right? So if you write that again, you will get say 60, right? 15 into 2, 30 pi by pi. So it is actually what, 30 I square, right? 30 I square or I naught square, 30 I naught square integral theta from 0 to pi. One cos theta integral is there, one. Okay, theta from 0 to pi. This integral cos of, second, sorry, cos of beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos beta L by 2. Please don't substitute the value of L here, right? You don't have to substitute the value of L here now, right? Maybe at the end we can substitute. I'm writing in general, but you can substitute beta equal to 2 pi by lambda and L is equal to lambda by 2 divided by sine theta divided by sine theta d theta. So this integral, right? This integral, what we can do is we can substitute for say L later. So what we have, this is the total power. This is the total power, P total. So, and this is also equal to actually what? This is also equal to I naught square by 2 times RR. This is also equal to I naught square by 2 times RR, our equation number 1. So what we will get is this RR, radiation resistance, will be equal to, this radiation resistance will be equal to, I can write now, this RR is equal to, one second. When we cancel out, it is actually what, 60 times, this is equal to 60 times integral 0 to pi, integral 0 to pi, this integral, right? This it's a general expression, right? For a thin linear antenna, if you are asked to derive the radiation resistance of a thin linear antenna, this general expression is what we have to write, right? So that is cos, again, okay, I'll write beta L cos theta by 2 minus cos of beta L by 2 the whole square divided by sine theta d theta, right? So if you evaluate this, right, you can evaluate, you substitute actually what, in this you have to substitute L is equal to lambda by 2 and beta is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Then if you simplify and find out this integral, right, that lambdas will get cancelled, as L is in terms of actually what, lambdas will get cancelled. So we'll get a finite integral, right? You can integrate it using calculator. If you integrate that, you will get this to be equal to actually what, 73 radiation resistance RR. You will get it to be equal to actually what, 73 ohm, right? So this is the standard value. Theoretically, this is the standard value, right? Of course, you will get this integral. So what will be this? What is 73 by 60? 73 divided by 60. Can anyone tell me what is that? I think it is 1.22. Is it?
Yes, sir. 1.22.
1.22, right? 1.22. So this integral you should get actually what to be equal to 1.22, right? So are radiation resistance of a half wave dipole. Right? It's actually what an antenna which is of very high practical importance. Right? Half wave dipole antenna. Right? So this is RRS 73 ohm. But I told in practice, right? In practice, what happens is this radiation resistance is not purely resistive. Why? Because the terminal impedance of this antenna, it will also include some inductive reactance, right? So in practice, right, if you have a wire, right, made into a lambda by 2 thin linear antenna, right, it's this will have some inductive effect, right, some reactance, right? So because of that, in practice, right, so practically, if you have an antenna, this RR, this will be equal to 73 plus J 42.5 ohm, right? So just see if this value was there in your like transmission line problem. Load resistance is equal to 73 plus J 42.5. You can just turn back the pages and see whether this value was there in one of the problems which we solved. First module, transmission line problem. Was it there? Load impedance is 73.J42.5. Actually, mostly why we are using this transmission lines we are using to actually what feed the signal from this source to the antenna. It's actually feed line, right? Feed line. Transmission line mainly we are using for actually what feeding the signal, right, from the microwave source to the antenna. So antenna radiation resistance will be the load impedance as seen by the feed, right? That will be the load impedance as seen by the feed, right? So this is RR. So practically, right? So this we don't want this reactive part, right? Reactive inductance means actually what it will right, say store some of the energy, right, in the magnetic field, right? It won't radiate, it will be stored, energy will be stored. We don't want that to happen. We want the antenna to radiate the power, right? We don't want it to be actually what resonating. So what we will do is we will reduce the length of the antenna. Actually, if the operating wavelength is lambda, right, if you want to have a practical lambda by 2 antenna, the length of the practical lambda by 2 antenna will be slightly less compared to actually what actual lambda by 2. It will be a few percentage less than actual lambda by 2, right? So because of that, what happens is, right, this inductive part is eliminated, but what happens is this length as such is also reduced. So because of that, in practical applications when we need to use a lambda by 2 antenna, right, its radiation resistance will be somewhere around say 65 ohm, right, somewhere around 65 ohm. It won't be 73 ohm as such, it will be 65 ohm. So that is about the radiation resistance of short like say half wave dipole antenna, right? So this we can have actually many variants of this half wave dipole, center field dipole, right? So we do even have actually what folded dipole antenna. Yeah, you might have seen, right, the old television antenna, Yagi-Uda antenna, right? In that we like you might have, if you have seen that, you might have seen an antenna like this. This is actually called a folded dipole antenna, right? A folded dipole antenna. It's actually like we can have variants of this. So that Yagi-Uda antenna, if you remember, it will have actually what longer elements towards one side and shorter elements actually or towards the other side, right? So this, when length is more, right, so when this more length is greater than lambda by 2, what will happen? It will act as actually what, it will be inductive in nature, and when length is smaller, it will be actually what, capacitive, right? So when we study about Yagi-Uda antenna, we'll study that, right? So I'm telling this half wave dipole antenna, it is used in actually what, these Yagi-Uda array. Yagi-Uda array is actually what, one of the practically high directional antenna, right? It can give a very good directivity and gain. So in that we are using this half wave dipoles, right? center fed half wave dipole as active element, and parasitic dipoles as stray elements. So we will study that later. So it has got applications, many applications, half wave dipole antenna. Right. So that's fine. That's all about this particular fourth module. Right. Fourth module, right, we divided it into two parts. One was array of point sources, and the second part was short electric dipoles and thin linear antenna. Right. So we have studied almost everything. Right. Yeah. So that's it. We'll wind up fourth module there. Right. Any queries, any questions, any doubts? If I may ask, right, I want everyone to type in chat window, which is a topic which you understood the best in fourth module, including antenna, arrays, and dipole. Which topic do you think is the easiest? All of you, please do type in. For me to know this, right? This is assumed to be actually one of the toughest module. Not actually what I'm not creating such an impression. Right? But normally, students used to think this module is tough. So okay, Savan, you have typed derivation and sums of point sources in 4 cases. That was the easiest part, Savan, or toughest part?
Easiest, sir.
Easiest. And which one do you think is toughest?
I think one is that multiplication pattern.
Sorry?
Pattern multiplication. Pattern multiplication. That was it before this internal.
It was taught before this internal.
Yeah.
So should I repeat that pattern multiplication?
It's okay, sir, but I think
okay, maybe we will see. Right, we'll see. It's nothing. Pattern multiplication says, right? Yeah, actually, initially, what normally in this microwave, everywhere you might have seen. Initially, we started with array of isotropic antennas. Right. Actually, pure isotropic antennas don't exist at all. Right. Then what we do is we'll actually extend that idea to practical antenna. So this first what we have studied is isotropic antenna arrays. It exists only ideally or theoretically, but in practice what we have is say practical antenna. For instance, if you take a half wave dipole, right? If you take a half wave dipole, in its equatorial plane, its radiation pattern will be a circle, right? If you keep maybe I'll just if an antenna is kept like this, its radiation pattern is actually if you take a cut along this paper, the radiation pattern will look like this. But if you see from top, right, right, or in its equatorial plane, the radiation pattern is actually a circle. In one of the principal planes, the radiation pattern is actually circle. So if you want to broadcast, right, so if you want to broadcast to all the regions, you can mount a half wave dipole like this. So even though in one principal plane its radiation pattern is omnidirectional, it doesn't mean it's an isotropic antenna. So practically we have such antennas, right? So if you replace actually isotropic antennas with such practical antennas, how we will find out the actual radiation pattern, right? So that is actually given by the principle of pattern multiplication. So you have to multiply the array factor of array of isotropic antenna with individual pattern of non-isotropic antenna. So it will give you. So maybe you read it once again, you will be able to appreciate. And otherwise, if you want, I can repeat. Right. So that is actually an important concept. If you even if you are taking actually MTech communication system, right? There again, you will actually study the all these things. Almost all these things you will study. Apart from maybe additional thing which you may study is pattern synthesis, right? So there again you will study. There again pattern multiplication. There in more detail actually most of the problems will come from pattern multiplication. But as far as UG syllabus is concerned, they may ask you to actually write what is pattern multiplication or with an example demonstrated, so on, right? That's why I didn't stress much. Maybe if you want, you can repeat it, right? So that's it. We are winding up this fourth module, and now we'll move on to actually Second module is again actually what about microwave passive devices, right? Microwave passive devices. So it basically it will tell you how to come up with the equivalent, right, parameter representation. So you have studied about actually what Z, Y, H, then ABCD transmission, all those parameters in your network theory. But there you can see, if you want to come up with those network equivalent parameter equivalence, you have to either short circuit or open circuit the say load end, right? You have to either short circuit and open circuit. But the problem with microwave engineering is, right, to have a perfect short circuit and open circuit, that is not that easy, right? To have a perfect open circuit and short circuit is not that easy. So those parameters, right, which A, B, C, D, Z, Y, H transmission, we can't directly apply it to what transmission line or the microwave engineering. So we should have something else that is actually what scattering matrix parameter. So it's actually what interesting, and you should know that as an electronics engineer, right? For sure, if you are attending some interview, you will get questions from S parameter, right? You for sure will get questions for S parameter. So that is actually very important concept, right? So that's why, right, I urge you to. So we'll start with that in next class, right? So today that's it. We are winding up. Thank you so much for patient listening, right? And yeah, that's it. Shall we wind up? I'll stop recording and we'll wind up the session.